So recently I did a comparison video between the new DJI Osmo Nano, the Insta360 GO Ultra, and the Insta360 GO 3S to try to determine which of these is the best mini camera. And boy, I got a lot of good responses. There were over 200 comments. I read every single one of them, and there were some good questions in there. So I rounded up like the top 13 questions, which I'm going to answer in this follow-up video. We're going to talk about things like microphone compatibility, how they compare to the legendary DJI Osmo Action 2, and overheating, which is very spicy. So definitely stay tuned for that section. Also, this video is not sponsored. I mean, these original camera companies did send me these cameras to test, but they are not paying me to make this video, and they're not reviewing it before it goes live. I just figured that since you all took the time to watch my original video and ask those questions, the least I could do is try to answer them. Now, in case you have no idea what these cameras are, basically they are tiny cameras. They are roughly the size of your thumb, or in this case, a small little box. And you can use them standalone. They're waterproof up to 10 meters. Or you can attach them into their little action pod, or as DJI likes to call it, the vision dock. But I'm going to refer to it as action pod just because I'm used to saying that. But yeah, they are super small. So when they are fully assembled, they resemble like a GoPro action camera. But the main difference is that you can take it apart and use the camera unit on its own. And a lot of people like to use these as wearables. You can use the included mounts to do like a chest mount, get POV shots, or attach it to a hat. So let's dive into the first question, which is, can you use these cameras to shoot close up? Or how far away from your subject do you have to be? And basically, no, these are not macro cameras, so you cannot get super close to your subject. The Insta cameras have a minimum focusing distance of 30 centimeters, which is about 11.8 inches. So you got to be about this far away from your subject for it to be in focus. So, and the Nano actually has a 35 centimeter distance. You have to be even further away. So right now my hand is 12 inches away. We're going to bring it to 6 inches away. And right in front of the camera. My hand is about 12 inches away. Go ahead and bring it a bit closer. Now it's about 6 inches away. Now, right in front. And along those lines, someone wanted to know if you can use this to shoot with a blurred out background or bokeh. And no, you will not get a blurred out background with these cameras. If you want that, I would recommend going with the DJI Pocket 3 or even using your cell phone in like cinematic mode. Question 3. There were a lot of people commenting about what I said in my previous comparison video, where I ended up concluding that the GO 3S was the most affordable. And when I made that video, I had different pricing information, and so that has since changed. And so the GO 3S is no longer the most affordable. That goes to the DJI Osmo Nano. So this guy, there are two different prices because it comes with built-in storage. So it depends on how much storage you get. But if you get the minimum, which is 64 gigs, it is $299. And that can go up to $329 if you want 128 gigs. So even at the maximum storage capacity, it's still coming in cheaper than the GO 3S, which is coming in at $390 for 128 gigs of built-in storage. You cannot expand the storage on the GO 3S, by the way, but you can with the Nano and also the Ultra. And also the GO 3S, I thought they had a 64 gig version, but as far as I can tell, it's very hard to buy. So really you only have the 128 gig option for the GO 3S. Meanwhile, the GO Ultra is currently the most expensive. So it's $450 US without an included SD card, or it goes up to $470 if you get the SD card included, and that's a 128 gig SD card. By the way, Insta does actually make their own SD cards, and they're actually really good. They've been super reliable. I haven't had any issues with them. So if they do offer you an SD card with the package, I think it's a pretty good deal. Next question, how do you get the footage off of these cameras? Well, if you are using something like the GO Ultra, it doesn't have any built-in storage. It only has an SD card slot, micro SD card. And so in this case, you can pop out the micro SD card and attach it to a card reader and get the footage off that way. Or when you have the camera inside of the Action pod, you can connect the Action pod via USB-C to a device and then transfer the files off that way. That's also what you would do with the Go 3S and also with the Nano. The Nano is interesting because it does have built-in storage, but there's also a micro SD card slot on the Vision dock. And so you can put in an SD card of any capacity in here. And basically how that works is that, the built-in storage is in the camera unit, the SD card is in the Vision dock. So if you ever fill up the internal storage on the camera, you can connect it to the Vision dock and then say that you want to transfer the footage off of the camera onto the card. The other way you can get footage off of these cameras is to connect them to the corresponding phone apps for Insta360 and DJI. Now, I have confirmed that this works, but I'm not an extensive phone editing person, so I haven't really tested the apps out, a ton, so I can't speak to exactly how well they work, but I know that they do indeed work. The next question is about horizon lock. Which cameras have it and which of them does it best? So I'm going to go ahead and say off the bat that the DJI does not have horizon lock. It has something called horizon leveling, and so I recommend keeping that on because it helps to correct for some of the movement of the camera just to keep the horizon level, but you can't do like a 360 flip with it. For Insta360, both the Go 3S and the Go Ultra have 45-degree horizon leveling, which is what the Osmo has, but they also have 360-degree lock, where you can spin the cameras around, like do a complete circle, and you won't be able to tell that the camera is really moving. The thing with the Go 3S is that horizon lock is restricted to only being when you're shooting in the free frame mode. And so that one, you really have to process that footage in the Insta360 app on your computer or your phone to see the full effect. On the Go Ultra, they've added the 360 lock and the 45-degree horizon leveling to shooting in regular video mode. So that is a pretty big advantage to going with the Ultra. Also, both of the Insta360 cameras have something called tilt fix, and that gives you like a 10-degree compensation. So it's not a lot, but it's something. Next, let's talk about microphone compatibility. And this is an interesting one because I don't think I realized this the first time I did this test, but DJI, I asked them straight up and they officially confirmed that the Osmo Nano does not support using non-DJI microphones in either Bluetooth mode or connecting via USB-C. And I tested it out and indeed it seems to be true. And so it's smart on their part, like I get why they're doing that because they do offer really great wireless microphone options. But for the consumer, I do think that kind of sucks because it just keeps you locked in the DJI system. So if you're in the DJI system, that's great. But if you want to use something like a Hollyland wireless mic or a Rode wireless mic, you cannot officially do it with the Nano. Another thing about the DJI is that even if I wanted to try to insert one of these USB-C mics into the side of the Vision dock here, I don't think you can remove the door. At least I don't want to try because I don't want to break my camera, but it doesn't easily pop off like it does on other DJI models that I've used in the past. And so right now, if I wanted to connect even the DJI Mic 2 receiver to the Vision dock, like it doesn't actually fit. So yeah, hopefully that'll change maybe in a future model, or maybe I'm just wrong about not being able to take the door off. So it's been confirmed that you can have a DJI mic wirelessly connected via Bluetooth to the Osmo Nano. Right now we have the mic mini connected, and the cool thing is we can also connect a second one. Someone actually wanted to know, can you wirelessly connect a mic mini and another DJI mic, like a mic 2? So let's go ahead and try that out. Oh, that's cool. It looks like you can. So I've got the mic mini and the mic 2 connected. So that's neat. I actually learned something new. I wasn't sure if that was going to work. But the thing is, if you've got wireless mics attached And now you want to detach and try to use the vision dock. For the camera by itself, it says that you can only really do one at a time. So when I have the camera attached, we have the vision dock and the mics. I like that there's two mic levels as well, so we can just verify that they're connected. But when I detach, I lose my preview screen. So it's not able to support wireless connection of both the vision dock and microphones at the same time. But very neat that you can connect two of different DJI mics. With Insta360, they're more open. So with the Go Ultra, we're gonna swipe down, swipe left, and then go to Bluetooth to put it into pairing mode. And let's go ahead and try to pair the Mic Mini right now. Got the Mic Mini connected. And that's nice, it gives us the audio levels up top. Let's see though if we can connect a secondary mic as well. Ooh, it says yeah, well it's finding it at least. No, okay. So you can only connect one Bluetooth mic at a time. You're not able to connect two. The Go 3S unfortunately does not support any kind of Bluetooth connection. You can't connect headphones, you can't connect microphones, so just know that that part is out. But let us see what happens if we try to connect the receiver via USB-C. I'm not seeing any indicator that it's recognizing that audio is connected or not. Let's go ahead and record. Meanwhile, on the Go Ultra, we've confirmed that the Bluetooth connection works. Let's go ahead and also plug it in via USB-C receiver and see if that works as well. And so, yes, indeed, we're getting the audio levels, and there's also a little microphone icon to confirm that the Mic Mini is connected. So that's nice. And actually, this is how you can get the two wireless mics connected to the Go Ultra. Just fit the receiver because it won't work with Bluetooth connection. Yep, so the Mic 2 receiver can be connected. It's quite a bit bigger than the Mic Mini receiver. Look at that. But yes, you can have a Mic 2 transmitter, even two of them connected this way. And this is the USB-C receiver for the Holly Landlark M2. Such a nice compact little thing there. We've got the little wireless mic there. It's a bit of a delay, but it does indeed connect. So someone wanted to know about Rode Wireless Pro compatibility with these cameras. It becomes a little tricky because, you know, this is not a Bluetooth mic, so you do have to connect the receiver. The receiver is quite a bit bigger. It's about as big as the camera, truly. So you'd have to get some kind of cage to connect it via the cold shoe mount somehow, and also plug in the receiver. So a little bit messier setup, but let's see if it even works. You know, we see that working, and I see the mic indicator there, but I don't see the levels going. Let's go ahead and, yeah, no, does not look like the Rode is gonna work with this, the Go Ultra. The next question addresses a slight problem that I found by using the DJI Osmo Nano. Again, maybe they can fix this via firmware, I'm not sure. But currently, if I have a wireless microphone attached to the Nano, like the Mic Mini or the Mic 2, and I want to disconnect and try to use the Vision dock by itself, I can't do that. Basically, I lose the preview screen on the Vision dock because currently it seems that the Nano can only support having one wireless connection at a time. And if you choose for that to be the wireless mic, then you lose the connection to the Vision dock. And so people want to know if this is also the case with the Insta360 cameras as well. So let's go ahead and test that out and see. So with the microphone connected, can we take the camera out and retain our preview screen? Ooh, looks like yes. Yep. So yeah, with the Ultra, we can do both. Next question. What do I do with all of these cameras? I actually keep them because I specialize in doing like these camera comparisons, and so it's important for me to keep previous generations because inevitably someone's going to ask me, how does the Insta360 GO 3S compare with the DJI Osmo Action 2, which came out in 2021? And because I kept the camera, I have it, and I can do that comparison for you. So that leads me to the next question. A lot of people wanted to know, how does this 2021 modular camera by DJI, see, they were a little ahead of their time, how does this compare to these newer cameras that are basically doing the same thing? And that's a great question because the Action 2, you can still buy it. It's like $289. It's actually the cheapest of them all. And it has a lot of the same features that you're seeing in these newer cameras. Like it's waterproof, the camera unit by itself anyway, to 10 meters. It also has these magnetic attachments, so even with a modern DJI magnetic attachment, I can put the Action 2 on it, and it can shoot in 4K 60. So in terms of specs, like, it's pretty up there considering that this came out in 2021. And I honestly am so bummed that they didn't continue on this concept, because I will say off the bat that the build quality, like, this feels like it's coated in metal versus the Nano, which is largely plastic. So it just has a much nicer feeling in your hands. But for all of the good things, like, there are some things that aren't so great or just haven't aged so well with time. Number one, it doesn't have D-Log-M. So back in the day, DJI was offering D-Cine-like, which was their early form of log, but not as good as log. And so you can shoot in D-Cine-like if you want a flat color profile, but you don't get D-Log-M. It also does not have wireless microphone compatibility, so you can't use the Mic 2 or the Mic Mini or the Mic 3 with this camera. And it also has a smaller sensor. It's got a 1/1.7-inch sensor compared to the 1/1.3-inch sensor that the Nano has. And so basically, you can really see that difference in low light, in my opinion. It's not that good in low light. It doesn't have the super night mode. So yeah, for all of the great things that this camera offers, it's still not really on par with what's being offered today. So a lot of you guys had questions about low light shooting on these cameras. So right now we're shooting in super night mode on the DJI Osmo Nano and pure video mode on the Insta360 GO Ultra. And in the preview screen, I can already see a pretty big difference. Definitely the Ultra is looking a lot better than the Nano is. And so someone asked, what if we are not in super night mode? What if we go over to regular video mode on the Nano and then shoot in log? Can we make up for it that way? Because the Ultra doesn't shoot log. So let's go ahead and switch that over and see. So before we go over to log, this is a 10-bit normal color on the Nano in video mode rather than super night mode. And actually I do see a bit of a difference. I feel like it's definitely brighter right now. Let's go ahead and see stabilization. Normal video mode, 10-bit color. And now we're in D-Log-M 10-bit on the Osmo Nano, shooting in normal video mode, because right now you cannot choose log when you're shooting in super night mode. Next question. Can you use any of these cameras to live stream or use them as a webcam? As far as I can tell, none of them do live streaming. And webcam mode, 2 of these cameras don't, and 1 does. So the GO 3S does have a dedicated webcam mode. When you attach it via USB-C to a computer, you can select webcam mode, and it works pretty well. You do have to have the camera inside of the Action pod to do that, but still, it's nice to have that as an option because the GO Ultra, strangely enough, it does not offer webcam mode. Perhaps they can change that in the future. And also the Nano doesn't have it, but again, maybe they can do that via a firmware update. So if you want to do webcam mode, your only option right now is the GO 3S. Along those lines, can you use these as a dash cam? DJI, no. There is no dash. I mean, you could set it up as a dash cam, but it doesn't have loop recording or a dash cam mode built in. But the Insta cameras do. They have a loop recording mode, which basically puts it in dash cam mode. And so, again, I would keep the camera inside of the pod if you're going to do that. Because we'll talk about why in the upcoming question. But yeah, as long as it's like this, I think you could set it up and have it set to loop recording and basically use it as a dash cam. So the final question, we're going to end with the spiciest one because this is by far the question that was asked the most. And that is overheating and, general battery life. How long do these cameras actually last? So in my original comparison, I didn't address this because for me, I don't get these cameras to overheat when I'm using them regularly because I don't usually film longer than like a 3 to 5 minute segment on any of my cameras. Like I don't do long-term continuous recording. And so if that's the way that you shoot, then you won't experience overheating problems with these cameras. But if you want to keep them going until their battery runs out or until they overheat, then yeah, you might run into some issues. So I had to run this test multiple times, and I did it with the cameras in their action pods and without, and got some pretty interesting results. So for the first test, I had the cameras attached to their action pods or vision docks and put them in a place with some airflow. And, I live in Seattle, it's fall, so roughly 70-degree weather. Not hot. I don't really know how to stimulate a hot environment. So if you live in a hot place, you might get totally different results. But for me, in a relatively cool temperature, here's what happened. So the DJI Osmo Nano, it did overheat. I repeated this test 3 times, and each time it hit an overheating limit when attached to the vision dock. And that happened at various intervals. So 16 minutes, 18 minutes, and 20 minutes. And so interestingly, like that time did increase with each test that I did, but still, it did not last longer than 20 minutes before overheating. And even though it overheated, the battery, there was still like 40, 50% battery left every time I did this test. So it wasn't running out of battery or even storage space, but just it overheated. The Insta cameras never had any overheating. They ran until their batteries died. And so for the Go Ultra, it lasted about an hour, 45 minutes. And the Go 3S lasted for an hour, 57 minutes at its peak. Again, I did this test 3 times, so we had 3 different results, but the longest it was ever able to last were those numbers that I just quoted you. So yeah, no overheating with either of the Insta cameras. Now I did the test again, this time with the cameras outside or detached from their docks, and got totally different results. So, number 1, the one that didn't last very long, was the Osmo Nano. So this also overheated. And let's see. So the longest it ever lasted was 30 minutes and 29 seconds. And when it overheated, it still had 43% battery left. So it's not battery life that's the issue here, it's overheating. And that's whether it's attached to its dock or detached. The Insta cameras, none of them overheated, but honestly, they did not last much longer than the DJI, and that's because they ran out of battery. So let's see, who was next? The Go 3S ran out of battery. The longest it lasted was 34 minutes when it was detached from its pod. And the Go Ultra lasted 38 minutes. So, about 7.5 minutes longer than the DJI. And it, not due to overheating, but just running out of battery. So basically, if you're going to use these tiny cameras by themselves, you can't expect to use them for very long. Like they all seem to tap out at about the 30-minute mark, if you're lucky. If you attach them to their pods, then they do last, somewhat last a little bit longer, except for the DJI anyway. So yeah, the Go 3S definitely has the best battery life and no overheating when it's like this. But when they are detached, the Go Ultra seems to be the winner in terms of battery life. So after doing this FAQ video, I have a somewhat new verdict or just new things to say about these three cameras and how they compare to each other. First of all, I still think that DJI is offering the most if you are in the DJI ecosystem. Because again, it's compatible with their magnetic mounts for other cameras, and also the wireless mic situation is definitely in your favor if you use DJI mics. And the nice thing about this camera, as opposed to the Insta cameras, is that if you want to wirelessly attach a DJI mic, you can attach two to the Osmo Nano. You can only do one at a time via Bluetooth anyway to the Go cameras. So just something to think about. In terms of the image quality, the Osmo Nano also is giving you 10-bit color, they're giving you D-Log-M, they're giving you 4K 120, and these are things that you're not getting on the Insta Go Ultra. With all that said, the Osmo Nano does have an overheating problem, at least in the many tests, 6 tests at this point that I've done. Whether it's attached to the Vision dock or on its own, it does overheat. I can't really get it to last longer than 30 minutes. So if you're going to do long-term recording, then this is probably not the camera for you. The Insta-Go cameras do not have overheating problems, but when they are detached from their pods, they still don't last very long either. So if you want a tiny camera that's going to last a long time, then these aren't really going to be it for you. But in general, I will say that the Insta cameras seem to offer a little bit more in terms of their modes and their features, like the fact that you can use this in webcam mode, you can use both as dash cams, they have the freeform video mode, they've got the 360 horizon lock, just things like that. I feel like it's just showing that Insta has been refining the concept of these cameras for so long, because they have. Like, this is like the 4th generation of this tiny camera versus DJI. You could kind of say that this is their 2nd generation if you're gonna, consider the Osmo Action 2 as their 1st generation. But to me, these two are still pretty similar. Like, there's not a huge difference in terms of their specs and their features anyway. So to me, they're still like in Gen 1 mode with the Osmo Nano. And that's showing in a lot of their features and just the overall usage of the camera. And so I still think this is a great camera if you can make it work for your use case, because again, I personally shoot short little clips. I don't shoot for long periods of time. So until I did an overheating test, I wasn't even aware that it existed. So this can still work for your workflow, especially if you consider the price. I mean, this is by far the cheapest option compared to the Go Ultra, which is quite a bit more expensive and also cheaper than the Go 3S. But I also would not rule out these Insta cameras. Like, they definitely have their merits, and for some people, they're going to be the better choice. But you guys let me know what you think in the comments down below. What do you think? Which camera are you gunning for now?